Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the 5 Day Sprint live stream. Really glad to have you guys all here today. We have got a very special guest, someone that is a very dear friend to me, someone who's basically become family to me over the last 12 years, maybe even longer now actually. And we won't even go to the story. We won't even go to the story of how we've met, but he's a very dear friend to me, an uncle to my children. And more than anything, just a great creative co-partner that I've had the blessing of kind of viewing up close and personal over the years. He's, opened his world up to me, showing me things that I would never have seen before, put me in rooms that I could never even imagined of being in. And the amount of kind of creative exposure I've had throughout that has only benefited me greatly. And a large amount of sort of the creative skills that I'm able to share with you guys come from the rooms and experiences that this gentleman has blessed me with. So I wanted to bring him onto the stream today, first of all, as an introduction to the 5 Day Sprint sort of universe, but also to show my gratitude to what he's brought to my life. So guys, without further ado, let's introduce the man of the hour. This is Quincy. Quincy, what's up, bro?
What to do? What's cracking?
Oh my
Thank you.
days, only you would do something as nuts as that. We love it though.
You said we want to do the first one, so we're gonna do the first one.
We're gonna do it, bro.
I do it up too. The fun way. But first off, thank you for the lovely introduction. Um, knowing you has been fun more than like, anything because I learn right every time I speak to you. Um, and I think having people in your life that you learn something every. Wait, how's my mic level?
Yeah, I'm just making sure you're good. Yeah, so you can see me. Yeah,
We
good.
can have cool when you can have people in your life that you can learn from every day, every time you speak with them, whatever experience, that means a lot. And to even see you build this platform, everything you build, damn near, I see it from scratch. I see it from the ink on the paper.
I'm
Before it's
throwing up
even.
your phone. Like I had this moment in London when Quincy came out there last year, and this was like I think right at the very start of this community, right? And I
Yeah.
barely done anything with it, and we were standing on a rooftop in London. It's like one of those scenes out of like Top Boy, right? And I
Hmm.
like this guy's about to walk inside the house, and I grab his shoulders and I go, Q, you don't understand, bro. I said like this
AI.
AI stuff. Like my brain is going. He's like, I know, and he's like, I'm like, you don't understand. And yeah, man, then we were able to just kick it and talk more about AI and stuff, man. But yeah, and I appreciate those words, bro. Thank you, man.
No, of course. Yeah. It's like I said, it's beautiful to see things come to life, and you have proven that to me over and over again. So you give me
Those
hope.
words, man.
Those
Oh,
like
bro.
far fetched ideas enter my brain. I'm like, the only person I can call is Omar. Let me have Omar vet this out real quick.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, man. There's been many of those. Those are my favorite moments, man. I love those so much, man. And anytime we get to do that in person, that's even been a blessing. How many times we've sat there back in, LA, however many years ago, we sat there riding scooters around the office, just, brainstorming on ideas for your watch brand at the time. Remember the watch brand you had, Chalk? That's kind of how we met through that whole experience, man. And so everything has always been some sort of like creative collaboration, exploration. Our kind of language has always been, creativity and bringing things to life. And I think this I think was a perfect canvas for, this next phase of, bringing your ideas to life because so often we speak about ideas. Sometimes we're speaking about ideas and we're trying to find a way to actually do them and like now I have a family and it's not the same as me being able to just fly out to LA and spend time with you and build things, but I want to do them because I love your ideas. I want to play a part in them. And we were speaking recently and I said, you know what, I've got this whole 5 Day Sprint thing going on now. We're doing this live streams. I've never had a guest on. I'd love to have you on as a guest. And then maybe we pick apart one of your ideas and over time, we get you back and we just start building on this idea. So we actually start, sharing the screen, people get to watch this and see this side to you, which I think to me is the most fascinating side. And that speaks a lot in terms of, first of all, how great of an actor you are, how great of an artist you are, all these other, accolades you have and names you have for everything you do. But for me, the most, and I've seen you, by the way, up close and personal on set. I've been in your studio. I've seen all that type of stuff. But when I get to have those conversations, when it's just you and you're sharing those like curiosities, those ideas, and it's so vulnerable as well as a creative person to be able to share those ideas. And so I really appreciate that you trust me with those. But anytime you do that, it lights up my face, man, and I want to be able to bring those to life in whichever way I can. And so I thought this would be a great way to do that. So being able to take something, see it come to life, the audience also see it come to life, because in this world of AI, man, things can just be flying and be building, quicker than ever. So I'm really excited to do that, man. So yeah, however you want to, shape that up, frame it, wherever you want to take the ideas, even if you just want to vibe on some other ideas, man, I'm down. So yeah.
That's funny. Needless to say, all the ideas I done hit you with probably in the past like 4, 5, 6 months, you like AI. Every time I make it might be a different solution. You're like, no, that's AI. You know what I mean? That's AI now. So I think the future is, with everything is the learning process is actually like, the school of I guess, what's the best way to put it? Okay, like when you play PlayStation, right, and you play Xbox, but you a PlayStation person, and you get that Xbox controller in your hand, you like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or
But
if
it's the
someone changes
same
the
game.
controls the way they play, yeah.
But it's the same game,
Yeah.
right? And I feel like that's where my influence needs to really spread when it comes to like the advanced technology and AI and innovation, and because I want to be the one to say like, look, if I could do it, y'all could do it, because I'm really going through this in a learning process as a student. People don't like this little process because you feel dumb. Honestly, you just feel like nothing's retaining. I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't know what I'm reading. I just don't want to be agreeing to something because it's cool, so I feel like, now is that space to really ask all the questions, and even with you, I got a question for you, like with 5-day sprint, what's been like the most, I guess, questions, or what's been like the top question, I guess, when it comes to AI or discovering new people who discover you, right? What are they coming to you, I guess, a common denominator of a question with?
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's a great question, and I think the way I've tried to explain it best, I have this sort of like presentation. If you go to school.com/5-day sprint or 5daysprint.com, you can watch this presentation on the site. And one of the main concepts of it is almost training ourselves to rewire the way we see the world and how we've thought about things up until now, right? And so often people have an array of questions from, where do I get started? What tools do I use? And there's no right answer, because actually the correct answer is about adapting your brain on how to think in this new world, right? So the way, if you just think about, previously, we've spoken about this type of stuff before. You have an idea, you have to go and raise funding, you have to go and get a team, you have to do recruitment, there's so much involved. Then you got to build something. We built projects that have taken a long time to bring to life before. But a lot of those things now can be done within, a couple of days. And that mindset shift is actually, so disturbing, because we haven't experienced anything in our lifetime that does that, right? So as soon as you even say that, people are like, no, but how is that possible? But that's why I created this, is to actually show people that, hey, like, we're just chilling. We could be chilling on a live stream, or I'm sometimes just chilling in my bedroom or with my kids and building a game, whatever. Like, it can be, that's how possible it is that you can be in any environment, and just be like creating this type of stuff. And it's all about how you think about it, and then you can stitch together the different tools. So we call this sort of systems thinking. So the ability to be able to break down a complex topic into like individual compartments. So you would have you might have an example in your world of, let's say, putting together a record, right? Like when people are hearing the actual record, actually there's loads of compartments of things that are going on, right? You have the actual audio input, then connected to that might be the microphone, the studio, blah 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 blah, the mastering, whatever else. Then you might have the beat that's got inside that bucket. You got the drums, the this, the that. And so all of these kind of elements have to come together to create that overall picture.
One song.
And same with AI. One song, yeah.
Right.
And people don't get the art of that. But the speed of that now is just like, even with songs, by the way, with things like Suno, right? Is insane. And so with any type of AI product, it's all about being able to break it down into these components. And then once you can just do that as a practice, you can apply it to anything. So same way you can step into any genre of music, any movie set, you just apply the skill sets you have to anything. And that's how I think is the best way of, you know, framing this kind of setup up right now.
Yeah, because I feel like people, I mean, they hear AI, they see AI. Right now, it's almost just like stereotypical, like, oh, AI. I know what AI is, right? Oh, I know AI when I see it, right? So it's kind of missing the point of AI with all the stuff that's highlighted and publicized the way it is, right? It's a lot of jokes, it's a lot of memes, it's a lot of,
A lot of
just
fear as well. Yeah.
yeah. And I feel like the next step really is to, like you doing, is showcasing really the process, right? And realizing that it's not a, you gotta go to 4 years of school to, you know, understand it, right? Because I feel like the moment you do something and you realize like, I'm not so good at it, it's so much. I mean, it takes so much for you to be like, all right, let me do this again for something I just like was not good at all, right? But this is where, like I said, you and I understand each other because where I had certain questions, you had the answers. Where you had certain, you know what I mean, questions, I had the answers.
Oh man, it
I
speeds
feel
up
like
the learning so massively. Yeah.
so even with this
What's
process,
what's that? What's that kind of? Give me a little bit of understanding of, you know, how far you've, you know, dived into AI. You know, what's your experience with it being like? There's no right or wrong answer, but I'm just really curious. Like, you know, how are you thinking about it?
yeah, you mentioned Suno. So that's been something heavy. And I say heavy vicariously, one through my producer, because one, I wanted him to like master it first. I didn't want to be the one trying to teach him when he knows all the techniques and audio hacks and stuff like that. So I'm like, yo, you teach me, right? Obviously, we both playing around with different AI tools, but Suno has been a, a game changer just within, I guess, the workflow of things. It's not like writing songs for us. It's not doing that, but we are allowing it, especially now. Now, version like 1000, you can take your work, you can take your, finished products and break them down now. The most important thing in studio audio is stems, right? You need the files in order to
I didn't know
make your
Suno
master.
did that. So you're saying Suno allow you to take the stems now?
They do that now, yeah.
Wow,
They
I
didn't
didn't know
do it
that.
before.
Okay,
So,
interesting.
so so that changed the game for like
Yeah, that's
really
crazy.
you get as much as you want because now you can break it down. Before you had to like, let me tweak with what I got. Right.
Yeah.
Now you can strip it away and so it's obviously evolving. And I feel like, even what Timberland's doing right now is a little like risky, but it's proven something, you know what I mean? And I respect it, right? I may not, be all the way for let's build hundreds of AI artists and now, consuming this.
Yeah, because he's been doing that, right? He's like actually building AI artists. I've been seeing the ads everywhere as well. Like every other day, I just see an ad of Timberland with AI artists or something.
I mean, look, I don't think he's doing nothing different than
Yeah,
what
yeah,
Eric
yeah,
is
yeah,
doing upstairs,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
However, he's getting a nice check to just promote it extra, and I think because he's such a legend and comes from like the furthest era away from technology and AI,
yeah.
he's drum machines and so somebody
But
like him,
that,
he's impressed, first of all, right? Why wouldn't he want
absolutely.
to realize it with his genius from years and years and, you know, including today's technology and shit into his whole like system. Yeah.
Well, this guy's been back to back with the wins with verses, right? He was involved with that too.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, this is where, you know, even some of the conversations we have offline, you know, part of that, you know, physically shaking you and figuratively shaking you sometimes because, you know, I'm like you're in my eyes, like, you know, that first of all, the amount of, you know, the vantage point you have is so unique, right? The type of rooms you're in, the conversations you're around, the people that you've known for your whole life, who are of great influence, great power, and, you know, actually where, you know, the real industry is, you know, where the movement is really happening. You're seeing that. So from that viewpoint, I've always found it fascinating that someone with so many years ahead as you, right? Like, you're so young right now. You know, you're like, to me, you've achieved so much by still at the very start. I feel like this whole technology shift, like, no one I ever see in, like, you saw in the music business in general, like it took a long time for people to start embracing the tech space, and the VCs of the world, right? Only until recently when you started to have, like, Nas with Queensbridge Ventures, Jay-Z with his ventures as well. Like, slowly people start to make these investments, but the game had already been matured. So I think, like, it's a very interesting time now where in the next 10 years, I at least can see a world where you're that kingpin of that, AI world from
Touch
that
so
industry,
much,
right?
right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah,
it's really all about now bringing in all these nuances of the future of technology and connecting all the dots. So
absolutely.
even the backpack
What
off of
you're gone.
what else like the Suno, of
Mm,
course, ChatGPT has been,
mm,
my best
mm.
friend, for whatever. Like
What are you using?
a
What are you
lot
using
of
ChatGPT for? Be honest with us. What are the type of chats you're having inside ChatGPT? Are you getting therapy? Are you getting recipes? What are you doing? Tell me.
a little therapy, a little, sometimes you
Advice.
just want to see what it's gonna do, right? I feel
Yeah.
like that's also too, the side of Chat GPT where it's like, look, I know you're gonna say anything, but like, dang, I just like I said, I utilize it as my confirmation, but it's my new Google for sure. Just
Okay.
to
Yeah.
like
Interesting.
keep that's the foundation of what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I do like to get my inspiration mock-ups. The
Mm-hmm.
more I say, I feel like this is where it respects me because
Mm-hmm.
I like to talk a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I could say 100 words, but I could have got my point across in 10. Chat GPT, like, somebody who talk. That's all I'm gonna say. So that's
Okay.
been
Nice.
kind of like also too a better way of retaining information because when you
Mm,
Google search,
mm.
you gotta pick and choose, right? Almost like your reference. When ChatGPT serves it to you, it's a different style of communication. And I feel like that's also too where people have found like a new retention rate into like it
Absolutely.
feeling like somebody just talking to you. It ain't doing
Mm.
it's just presented different.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Google. It's just
Yeah.
presented different. It basically just click the site for you and damn near just paraphrase what the site said.
Well,
you know.
here's the thing that I've found fascinating, and one of the things that we've been doing. So you can see my screen right here now. You probably see it
Uh
on the stream.
I mean on
You probably see it on the stream in a sec. But we should have set this up so you can see my screen as well, actually. But basically, on ChatGPT, like the point you just made, which is really interesting, is when you're asking it a question and you're treating it like Google, actually the answers are coming from somewhere, right? And so that's where I found it really fascinating because, we ended up building guiltychef.com, which is like sort of a recipe website. And then bestdubai.com, which is like a directory of the best places to visit in Dubai. So these became like sites we made by utilizing that technique that you just mentioned, or which we call sort of AI SEO, or some people are calling it AEO. So the traditional version of SEO was ranking in Google alone, right? But now, since people like you have just said you're using a lot more of the AI tools to search, well, the answers need to be in there, and so you have to find a way to get your brands and your content to rank in there, right? So let's say someone is asking for a recipe now for a certain recipe that we might have on our site. Actually, our website will come up through ChatGPT as the source of where it's getting the content for, right? And
I
so
need that.
with
I need
and
that.
that, bro, and the mind bending thing here really is the fact that the actual content in the first place came from ChatGPT because that's how I create the content for my site because it was AI generated content, right? So I kind of took content from there, almost tagged it with my brand, and now when people are searching it, actually my brand comes up first, and I'm getting traffic off the back of that, right? So it's the interesting
Makes sense.
loop and things that you can do just to get brand exposure using AI tools.
Yeah, that's very important. I feel like
Yeah.
even understanding the difference between that. What you said, SEO and then AEO,
AEO, yeah, AEO, that's right.
that's a whole episode right there,
Oh yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
that's nobody's saying that, right? Everybody
Mm-hmm.
knows SEO and stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
even understanding the AEO side of shit is
Mm-hmm.
things. So, it's really like game changing. I feel like because next thing you know, like I want them to like put a real graph up in the next like 2-3 years, like Google, Chat GPT,
Oh yeah.
ChatGPT.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah. Well, they're already seeing that, man. Absolutely. And this is where, you wouldn't think someone like, Google would be disrupted and, still a brilliant company that's going to, find its way. But, man, did you see the Sora 2 app that just came out? Did you see
I
that one?
saw the little clips from it. Yeah,
Bro,
unreal.
have you
That's
downloaded it yet?
the only one I haven't like played with for real, for real.
Dude, that is you all over. That is
Yeah,
you all
that's
over. Yeah, 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 yeah. So
funny.
ChatGPT released,
Got it
huh?
right here, but I got it right here, but I haven't done nothing with it.
Yeah, so they released so Sora 2. Oh, it says Sora 2 news. That's Sora 2. So basically, ChatGPT, OpenAI, who built ChatGPT, released Sora 2. So it's a video model, but it's like hyper realistic. So, like, you can literally, the videos are crazy realistic, but also you can put yourself in the scenes. So you basically become like, it's actually as if, it's sort of what we're doing right here. Like, this exact frame we have of you talking could be AI generated with your perfect likeness, right? But now what you could do is this feature called Cameo, where you can I can give you permission to use my likeness, and now you can create an AI video of both of us, right? But it's hyper realistic, as if it was really there with audio, with everything. But they turned into a social network. So it's its own app that you can use to create sort of, and it's all AI generated like sort of videos. And you could, for example, like where I can see this really being fascinating is especially for sort of brands, right? Like, and influencers, like a different wave of influencers. Like if I'm not comfortable with being in front of the camera, but I'm happy with the way I look being out there, dude, you can if you've got a funny concept or idea for something, you can turn that into a visual that can live on there, and you can grow your following, and a brand might come along and say, hey, like, do this, but with our brand. And if you can cameo people right now, you're eventually going to be able to cameo brands, right? Our brands will be able to put their product, you'll be able to get approval to use their product inside your thing. And so I think it's going to be a fascinating world, and it comes back to that idea of again, why I think people like you will win so much in this space is because it's all about the idea person, right? Like the person with the idea wins in this economy. And so if you're creative and you can come up with ways of piecing things together, man, it's you're gone clear.
I just clicked on it and I see the same screen you saw.
Yeah.
What do you do to get it actually? Obviously it's
You,
through
yeah, you
ChatGPT,
go download
OpenAI.
the app, and then I think I think you gotta I don't know if you
I got a
gotta wait
PC
for
though.
it. Yeah, you got to download the app. I don't. Yeah, I think you got to download it on your phone. I don't know. For some reason, I couldn't find it on my app store. I don't know if it's like a region thing, which it shouldn't be, but you should definitely be able to get it where you are, of course. So when I type in Sora, for some reason, um, yeah, but that's where I find this type of stuff super fascinating, man. Um, I know we haven't got too much time with you, Q, because you've got a few things to jump into. So, question I did want to kind of, uh, something I did want to discuss with you is, what idea of the many that we've spoken about is exciting you the most right now? Because, I would love to, over time, actually start building something out with you where we do a lot more screen sharing, spending longer sessions where people can actually see us, bring this thing to life in real time. And I think the thing, again, part of the question that you asked earlier on about, what people have found the most interesting, or the questions they're asking, one huge part of that has been people actually seeing the way that I myself might think, or anyone else that's building AI is actually thinking. So not having to have this perfect video edited to a T, more like the actual thinking process and discussion, like even this right now, plus us having a screenshot of us building, is really where everyone learns. And I think that's a great environment for people to get inside your brain, be in the room of the conversations we have, but actually start to see something come to life. So I would love to do that, but I'm really curious, what is that? Is there one idea? Is there something specific that you're really, keen on building?
Um, it's been a few, I think, but something where I was like, I want to make sure I'm honing in on is like, okay, me myself, right? What are my issues or problems that I have in my workflow or stuff like that, right? And also
Which
too,
by the way, just to cut you up, that's a great place to start for anyone. That's where you should start, is solving your own problems.
so I feel like as soon as I started thinking about that, I am such a people person, and you know, executing whatever I'm trying to put out there obviously requires a team. It requires, resources. It requires activating old relationships, new relationships. Um, and an idea we talked about, and I like chiseled it a little bit, but I feel like there needs to be something out there. And I feel like even with these AI assistants and stuff, I'm sure they can be taught and built, you know what I mean, to kind of like do something like this. But I feel like there's a there's a lack in relationship management. I guess that's
Interesting.
the best way to put it. And I feel
Yeah, you
like
say because of the social. Go.
yeah, I feel like with so much just access, so many, it's people having 20 meetings a day nowadays, right? Just
Without
because like
nothing.
some yeah, right. But then you never know that one or two, what I mean, meetings out of the 20 might be something.
Uh-huh.
Um, but then also too, everybody is also working on something, right? So the moment I hit you about an idea, or no, like strip away that. Imagine I just came to you and I was like, hey, look at this. And let's just say you was in a different mental space that day and you saw it, but you really didn't take it in. But the next thing you know, you see me now trying to, execute whatever, I guess, problem I'm trying to solve with this. And you're like, yo, I know what to do with that. I never like know when to like say, oh, well, this is what I was trying to say. And it may be just perspective. It may be perspective wise, it may be timing wise. So sometimes I'll hit the same person about the same thing a month later, and it's almost like they don't remember me hitting them about it. But I get it. It's a lot going on, right? So they just probably couldn't receive, what I mean, my energy at the
Yeah,
right
yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course.
Following up is okay.
Uh huh.
You know what I mean? Just, not hitting your relationships when you need them is, what I mean? It's a way to like keep relationships nice and shiny, right? Without only just tapping into them when you need them. And I feel like that also too allows their mind to think about stuff. You know what I mean? So it's the ecosystem of like staying connected, but like in a long term, consistent way, right? And I feel like so many people are on so many different times, it's hard to actually connect, right? For real. Um, like I got like 2 or 3 or 4 like investors who've been trying to meet with me for like 4, 5, 6 months. Something happened every single time, whether it's my fault or their fault. But it's like we know we want to connect, right? But then at that moment of connection, you want to be able to be like, oh, I know exactly what you do. I know exactly what I want to come to you with, instead of it being like, what are we talking about? So if you didn't understand anything I was saying just now, this is the takeaway. I hate walking into rooms and then not being able to like maximize what I could share.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. Makes sense.
sometimes I might blank out, sometimes, but you want to still keep it sharp no matter what. And I feel like even with relationship management, what I mean, I feel like something in the AI space for sure can allow that to stay a little more sharp, to stay even a little more relatable.
And
Um,
you mean like more for as a? Are you thinking as far as social network, not so much social network, but more like you be able to share things and people be able to see what you're doing, or more of like a personal tool that allows you to stay connected up to date with what's actually going on with others. So, or like, let's say you're going to meet someone, so you can go into that application or wherever it is and just almost have a understanding of this is their world, this is what's going on, this is what they might be interested in, almost like a profile of them, so you know how to
but
maximize opportunity.
yeah, something in that realm, right? But in a sense of like, if I built this like family tree of my relationships or something, right? You know, so it's like within the AI tool, right? I'm looking at it right now. I'm using it. Doo-doo-doo. Build your relationship family tree, right? Boom. I'm entering Omar in. Boom. I'm entering in my brother. You know what I mean? What he does. You know what I mean? I'm entering under your profile what you do. I may even enter in your Calendly. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah,
can out.
yeah.
know exactly what I need, how I
Yeah.
need to get in contact.
Got
Um,
it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it.
and
Yeah, because I
also
think
too,
yeah. Go
yeah, I'm saying, but also too, it knowing like what you're working on overall, right? So you're not like scatterbrained and just like writing everybody and
on.
just being reminded to just hit this person without nothing, right? So when I say like even relationship building, if you are wanting to, I guess, build with somebody, allowing the AI to help build that relationship. You know what I mean? Like if
That's
I
great.
come to you right now, like, yo, Omar, let me get this. And you like, I don't even know you, but whatever I asked you for, you had plenty of. But me as your brother, if I ask you for what he just asked you for, you giving it to me right now. Just you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it's also too, it's that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
you want to be able to maximize yourself, you know what I mean?
It's true. It's
And
true.
waste nobody else's time as well.
I think it, it's interesting, almost like in a practical way, you're kind of like, it's almost like incentive alignment in some ways, right? Like, there's a lot of signals out there of the type of things that people might be interested or curious about. And I certainly know that, even for example, us being here doing this, it's an alignment of incentives, you know what I mean, in like why it makes sense for me to share this with you, but also you to do it. I want to take part in it. Like there's an alignment there, and all these kind of moments, sometimes these moments are independent conversations, sometimes it's an email chain, sometimes it's a public type thing, but all of those make an impact. And yeah, you're absolutely right. Like whether it's Calendly integrating or even email exchanges, you could be going through something maybe at a moment in time where you're like, oh, especially with someone like you, by the way, who has ideas on the spot. And actually, that little bit of information of, hey, 3 years ago you jumped on a call with so and so, and then you had an email chain with this person who mentioned this.
This
Like it's just refiltering and surfacing up the information to just be on point for you to be able to go and execute. You know,
exactly what I
it's kind of
mean.
organizing that. Yeah,
Because sometimes I've even caught up with somebody and I leave and I'm like, dang, why didn't I bring up
yeah,
this? You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah,
what am I thinking? And that can translate into all type of different scenarios.
yeah,
And it's just because so much information, right? So processing
yeah,
and trying to translate and spit it back out, sometimes might be left in the dust.
yeah.
But all you got to do is just have that simple reminder or that's refresh, that can kind of like, you know, get it back where it needs to be again.
Yes, yes,
Like
yes.
conversation's dry. This is where you get it, flowing again.
I think
Um,
it's brilliant. I think it's brilliant, man. And I think you gave the example to me. This actually happened around the Fashion Week time, right? You've been so many people, so much going on, and you're in that. And that happens where you have these moments where, when you go to. I know I've been with you in Miami, New York, and I've been with all these places with you, and I've seen what it's like, And everyone's wants your attention. There's loads of conversations, And sometimes when I'm not there, as in your shoes. But knowing what I know about some of those people, I'm like, oh, like knowing what I know about what you're doing and who they are, there could be an interesting conversation. But you're in the mode of like, also trying to be you, you're trying to also, make sure you're giving the best energy and all this type of stuff, and it might not be the right moment to maximize on an opportunity or have a certain conversation, but sometimes just that follow up can be that moment for you to say, hey, it was great catching you earlier. By the way, I might not have mentioned this, and even maybe having that draft for you, saying to you, hey, Q, you should like maybe mention so and so,
exactly.
yeah,
So you
I
catching
love that.
exactly what I'm,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I vibe with it.
um, which is
Cool.
good because, I feel like if you can really understand that fresh off of like my frustration as an idea,
Yeah, yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Solution should instantly
yeah,
be, just like
yeah.
thought
Well,
of,
I think,
yeah, it's not
I,
like a damn, how can we, it makes sense where the solutions are at, you know what I mean? It's all about just putting it together. So,
I think a good place to start would be how I think of it, just in terms of concept, is family trees. And trees you mentioned is a great way. It's almost like creating these vector databases or clusters of information around a specific person. And so we could even start off very simple by taking my universe. And so let's say you plug in my emails. I would have to think about it a little bit. Like, do I give access? Like, maybe I have to be part of the platform. But then again, I suppose you want no. You could actually give access to your inbox, and that then
Yeah.
have the context of the person,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
then
Contact
maybe if,
box.
yeah. And so you're creating your own universe, and that would be interesting. So then let's say it knows, okay, let's say you just connect to your inbox, nothing else, right? We could start there. And it's like, okay, it's picked up, you then say, here's Omar, and it's got to go into your phone contacts, and it's got my information. It's then got it's got that email chain, but based off that, the AI can also understand that, hold on, let me go and search this person online and see if I can find a LinkedIn profile, see if I can find an Instagram profile, see if I can find a website. Let me see everything around this person, and then it kind of feeds all that in and then enriches that profile, right? And then you have that information ready to do whatever you want with it. And then when you compound that with, 1,000 relationships, you can could basically just go into this thing as a chat interface and say, or voice note and say, hey, had this crazy idea, want to be able to hop out to Austin next week, and see if I can do blah, 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 blah. And then you could just go out and just get all the information for
Yep.
you and say, hey, you
Yep.
need to speak. Or even that indirectly say, hey, like, by the way, on LinkedIn, like this person might be connected to this person. You might want to ask for an introduction or whatever else, right? It might not be so direct for you, but you might not know everyone else's network. So there could also be an interesting thing there where if you see, hey, hold on a second, like this person I know I can pick up the phone to and just say, can you put me in touch with this person? And you could just get it done.
Listen to what you just said. You said to somebody else's network, right? Let me tell you
Right.
also a big problem. When you're knowing somebody is working somewhere or, in this space, and you know that, right? Unless you're continuously talking to them, you don't know what they're doing or nothing like that. But, you may have once connected with them, nothing was there, So it's like you don't know
That's
when
juicy,
to
bro.
properly
That's
connect,
juicy.
right? But check this out.
I know what you're gonna
That
say.
person now leaves that company. But guess what? That person now most likely is somewhere better or somewhere
Yes. Always
near
happens.
near an
Yes.
elevation
Yeah.
level, something, right? So guess what? Now they're somewhere new to be able to present new information from the last spot that they were at. Now that's old information. If you're not staying in contact, if you're not keeping up with even where they have moved, you don't know now where you could take new ideas and shit and stuff because now you thought like, oh, this person was only there. And now guess what? Now they're at your favorite brand and you didn't even know because you didn't,
Absolutely.
check it out. And now that's your way into your favorite brand.
Keep going. Keep going.
I just feel like that is something that people don't take advantage of. It's like keeping up with people who work
Yeah.
for these great companies that we admire or stuff like that. And then, people move around, and it's okay. Yes, certain, companies have day ones, 5, 10 years, 20 years, but also people move around and they like to exercise their expertise wherever
It
that
makes me
is.
think of like the guy that kind of some of the execs at Apple Music, people that I know worked at Beats that then got acquired by Apple and now became the head of a department in Apple from the acquisition.
See, this is
But
what I'm
even some
saying.
of these like people that we publicly know have worked at some of these companies at Spotify, especially in the music industry. They were just either radio presenters, A&Rs, talent managers, whatever else, but they've also gone into those positions now over their career because really like, bro, like a decade flies by like that. If you think about it, like some of the people that you knew 10 years ago be doing a whole different world of things right now,
Oh, exactly.
But imagine being able to almost give permission to connect into someone's network, right? Like imagine we shared our network, right? Where
A
I said,
little,
hey, here's
a
my,
little LinkedIn mixed with a little.
yeah, but no, bro, like
Yeah.
literally, like you can see, I give you personally visibility to my network, right? Because based off whatever relationship that we personally have, I trust that you will protect my integrity. You have strong integrity because that's the main thing that people want, right? Is their integrity protected. Like you introduce me to someone, you don't want me to ruin the relationship, right? Or because then it makes you look bad, right? And it's the
Don't
same
get me
thing, like.
started.
Yeah, exactly. And so, no, I know exactly what you mean too, bro. That's one of the main things always when I'm making an introduction to someone, one of the very first things that I'm thinking about personally is, is this person going to be able to, hold their own and also not make me look silly, right? And that is an important part of it. So if you can somehow connect networks and you're like, you know what, this person's solid, bro, I'm happy for them to, or maybe you could even segment your network. Like you can take the music network as one part. You could take your VC business network as another part, and like, man, maybe someone has access to all, like your family members or whatever, but some people have access to specific things.
Major component we need to have a little like advice on how to protect your relationships.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
That's
yeah,
a
yeah,
major
yeah,
component as well.
yeah, yeah,
Let
yeah, yeah,
not
yeah.
let it be. You know what I mean? We just out here just
I know.
going out because, like you said, at the end of the day, you've now put your entire orbit in jeopardy if someone else not on your same page. You know what I mean? Like it could literally
Yeah,
ruin
absolutely.
and burn bridges and really like, mess up, the future of, what could be,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
so,
Well, I think it makes
you
it
can't,
makes it makes it easier to like because sometimes there is a weird dance you have to do with networking. Even the way we met, I cold emailed you, and I had to figure for me personally, I had to figure out, okay, how do I find how to contact you? How do I figure out the right timing? There was a lot going in my mind because I was like, I know this is someone that I resonate with. I feel like I'll be able to add value and have something to share. And then, whatever way we had to go about it, eventually that happened. But imagine being able to know that, hey, if like you were looking for a designer or someone to create things, that you might be looking about that, but you also can't get that information because there's no way to do that, right? The only way is if someone happens to find your email or figure out a way to contact you through someone else. Like there's no direct route. Whereas if you're also in your network saying, hey, I'm open to video directors right now because I've got an album release coming up. I want to find hot creative talent using AI. Dude, people like Samir of the world can be on there. I'm like, hey, like Q's looking for this. He could hit you straight away with, here's my portfolio. You know what I mean? And you're looking for that. He's interested in that. It's a match made in heaven. You could even have requirements such as almost like briefs. Like this is what I'm looking for. It needs to be in LA. I'm trying to do it in the last week of October. Boom, boom, boom. And then a criteria. And then all you're doing is just looking for almost like a version of CVs, but like in a very refined way. That kind of actually links to a previous idea you mentioned to me like that as well. So it's kind of a nice way of bringing them both together. So I think the idea is fire, man. We should definitely explore that and start building it out.
yeah, because I
Yeah.
feel like that's just like a start of things that could really see a major difference and even make you
Yeah.
feel better about
Oh
who
yeah.
you once connected with, and it also gives you satisfaction.
Absolutely.
Like you seeing it in front of you. So almost like when you write something down on paper versus typing it in your phone, it just feels a
Yeah.
little more real.
Yes.
So almost like
It
seeing this in
does.
front of you. You know what I mean? Of course we know, like I said, that's why I put it in like this like family tree, right? Easily, if I just ask you, who is your brother? What does he do? You ain't gonna shut up, right? So it's like imagine we could actually do that with someone who we really admire and stuff, and really kind of have that like, space to keep up with them, but also to, keep up with what they're doing, but also to have a little piece in keeping up with them.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Knowing what
Absolutely.
they got going on and
And maybe
just
people would
allowing
be
them.
more personal if it was like it's like LinkedIn but more personal. Like LinkedIn, I hate LinkedIn personally, by the way. I just think it's that whole cringe factor. And I think but I don't mind sharing like interesting information with my personal network, right? Like I'll ping you and saying, dude, like da, 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 da. Like I'm gassed about the layout of my live stream look or whatever it is, like something that by the right people in my personal network I'm okay sharing that with. So there might be things in your world, but that is also interesting information that helps someone understand what you're doing, right? Like if it's a new t-shirt design you've got for your merch or whatever, you might want to show that off to some people as you do, but that's not like, there's nowhere to put it really. But if that can go out to your network, but it's also a good way of saying, hey, I'm about to drop a merch thing,
All the
whatever.
sense.
Yeah. I'm very mindful of your time, bro. So I don't want to keep you too long.
But yeah, no, this is fun. Listen, this is just the
Yeah.
start of what we're actually saying we're building, is why we
Yeah.
even started
Yeah.
this, because we want to continue to speak these ideas and not log off and then get on the phone and be like, all right, let's talk the real ideas. No, we
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
treat
Yeah.
this like a chalkboard. A whiteboard, and
Absolutely.
a diary, especially with 5 day sprint. This is
Yeah.
a real look. Even though it's a marathon, not a sprint, this represents how you can quickly learn something for the longer run. You know what I mean? So this is
Yeah.
preparing you for the
Yeah,
marathon.
absolutely, man. Thank you, bro. Thank you. Your support always means so much to me, man. And I think we're in this whole era right now of building in public and people, seeing behind the curtain. And you don't sometimes realize, I genuinely don't think you realize, because first of all, you're so humble, and I've been able to be in so many environments to see that up close and personal. But I think there's such a magic behind the way you think and the way you operate creatively, and the nature of where you come from. Like normally you're putting out a final piece of work, right? Like you see the movie at the end, you see the record you hear the record at the end. But I would love for us to share this experience where we can really see you working, thinking, and bringing something to life. And I think that would be truly magical. So you just sharing that and this environment with us, man, and your thoughts. I'm really grateful for that, man. So thank you, bro, from the bottom of my heart, man.
Of course. You my brother from another mother. Life.
It's real, man.
And,
it's real. We're gonna get you out to Dubai, man. That's the next step. We're gonna fire up the jet.
Before the end of the year, if you tell me the good pocket, you know what I mean? Give me a few different pockets, little few windows, I'm coming. Absolutely. I don't even think I texted a few, people and let them know, like, yes, you're in Dubai right now, but they're like, why so late? Blah, blah. I said, well, my friends live all across the world, right? So got to make it work for both of us some way, somehow. Of course, you know what I mean? He's a family man. He has a wife and kid. I'm a nocturnal person, so you know what? It works out.
Man, your friend circle is like the most insane group of I've never met anyone that has such a diverse set of people. I mean, the first day I met Quincy, like we'd met for the first time in person. We'd spoken a bit before, but by 3 a.m. that night, when we're in a palace in the middle of London, like playing indoor basketball. I'm like, I didn't even know a place like this existed. You know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, this is just my guy, and I'm like, this is so funny. It's like it's a world of that. Like every page you turn is just like such an interesting chapter. So right. I appreciate you letting me in on that, man.
Speaking of, I might need to tap back in with him. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Make sure that the relationship is sharp.
Well, we could need the app for that too. So.
Right.
Love that. Oh, thank you, bro. Well, I appreciate it. I know it's late out there as well, but thanks so much for joining, bro. And I can't wait to do this again, man.
All right. Hey, let's get to it. We going to the moon with this one. You know what I mean? Let's go.
Thank you, man.
Right.
Love. Hey. Oh, man. How amazing was that? Oh, Q is, I hope you guys got a little bit of insight into why I love our conversations, and I get so energized by them, man. It's so late in the evening for him. It's like midnight for him, and it's like, midday for me. So I can use this energy to actually I'll probably be thinking about this idea all day. And I've been thinking about this idea since he actually shared it with me. And we didn't go into this much depth with it. I wanted to do this on the actual, live stream. But we'll do many more of those. I think it's been very fun, very interesting, insightful. Really glad you guys joined and took part in this. And we'll be actually sharing how we're building this. I think the interesting thing will be now seeing this come to life, using 5-day sprint and kind of the mechanics of how everything works. So yeah, I hope you guys had a great time in this session, and we will see you again next time. Thank you for joining.